Good morning and welcome to our very first online conference. My name is Stuart Lamont and I'm privileged to be the CEO of your peak national body, Caravan Industry Association of Australia. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule. We hope over the next couple of days you'll find something useful which you'll take back and implement in your own business. But before we start, we'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners of country throughout Australia and their continuing connection to lands, water and culture. We pay our respect to their elders past, present and emerging. As an industry, we're heavily interconnected. There are many sectors which make up our great industry and each is symbiotic of others. For example, if we see strong manufacturing and retailing, these products have to go somewhere. And conversely, strong caravan park visitation means positive opportunities for our trade sector. To say we're all in this together is never truer today. 2019 for many was a disaster, and I guess we're all looking forward with optimism to the new decade dawning. It took only days, however, for horror to be displayed across our television screens as large portions of the country burned. That saw what should have been brimming caravan parks turned into evacuation zones. While the scars of this, and for that matter those businesses that were affected by bushfires pre-Christmas, and those businesses in the north which lost their entire season last year through the monsoon trough, the events of recent months have tested us as industry businesses as we struggle to siphon through a lot of government promises and uncertain futures. But as bad as it seems, it could be worse. In recent months, we've seen some green shoots appearing around the country, with pockets of strong inquiry both for accommodation and retail businesses. The need to escape, and for many Australians, substitute alternate holiday options, puts us as the forerunner to benefit from what is expected to be a future domestic travel boom. To put this in context, we've seen 80% of those who own caravan and camping product, and there are over 700,000 of those, eager to get back out there in the first 2 months of restrictions easing, and digital inquiries relating to the purchase of RVs in Australia are well above COVID levels. While we've seen Victoria currently having a travel fence around it with the current spike in COVID cases, retailers around the rest of the country continue to report strong inquiry. And we have such a great news story to talk to the Australian public with. Several years ago, we undertook some research which identified the social benefits of caravan and camping. In a busy and disconnected world, it's quite clear that camping is a strong and powerful trigger, which resonates in trying to solve common problems in today's society. Not only do those that go camping recognise these benefits, what is interesting is even those who don't go camping appreciate the positives. Our opportunity is to harness this interest and get non-campers to at least try our industry product. And to back this up, we see strong perceptions towards children's behaviour. And camping is seen to bring families and couples closer together while also providing children important life skills. What is more, caravan and campers feel more satisfied, happy, optimistic and energised than non-campers, while also being less stressed, bored, frustrated and lonely. All of these important attributes which we use to drive media attention and to engage audiences towards our industry product. Back in 2012, I stood in front of the industry at the Gold Coast Conference with a simple plan, and it's never been more relevant today. More interactions with more people more often relates not only to our potential caravan and camping consumers, but also our politicians and regulators, as well as industry businesses and in particular our State Association colleagues. I have to say, as we all strive to grow and professionalise the industry, the level of interaction between state associations and the national body has never been stronger or more frequent. We saw this come to a core in recent months with bushfires and COVID, with at least weekly gatherings as we shared information and set common action items to advocate for industry positions, to not only get us through to the other side, but to open up industry businesses from the heavy restrictions which were unfairly imposed upon us, and not other tourism and retail businesses. As an individual business, we rely heavily on research. And as part of the Real Richness Report, we identified those triggers which most resonated with caravan and campers. This allows us to focus on these traits when we try and communicate to those who have either never tried our industry product before, or those who may not have tried it for some time. While terms such as relax, travel, holiday, experience, enjoy, country, wonderful, free, all evoked a positive response, that of love, time, family and people were extremely strong in the drivers behind people who go caravan and camping. This is also backed up by third-party research. The NAB Wellbeing Survey back in 2019 identified that pets, family, mental wellbeing, the environment, physical health were all important as well-being drivers, and the lack of time was a huge barrier. Indeed, they calculated that if you were able to buy back just 1 hour extra per day, the average Aussie would pay $68 to do so. Our opportunity is to showcase how caravan and camping can add to the wellness benefits of Australians, and these messages are strong in our messaging to market. Indeed, I'll show you some of our advertisements which talk directly to different demographic groups, but will feature many of the traits which are important to Australians when considering their next travel adventure. As a business, we use a number of avenues to get our core messages out to market, and then we heavily reinforce the positives of our industry once contained within our communities. Elements such as social, digital, TV and print are supported by competitions and quizzes to engage the consumer. By then understanding the characteristics of our database, and not just sex, age and postcode, we're able to segment messages to different interest groups for the purposes of visiting a dealership, taking a holiday, or maybe attending a state association run consumer show. And our digital communities are strong, with over 416,000 active people on our database, for which we have a range of demographic and interest data on. In fact, probably more than anyone on our database would like us to have. This past year, we've also invested heavily in understanding our database further through a company called Lexar, and I encourage you on 11 o'clock on Thursday to get a behind-the-scenes look at how we use this specific data to drive our ongoing marketing messages. In recent months, we've been heavily in market, ensuring that through the darkness and negativity around COVID, some positive messaging around the benefits of caravan camping, as well as increasing our profile for the sector at a time when particularly international travel is off the agenda. Twice weekly press releases to the media have seen countless stories featured on TV, newspaper, on radio and through digital platforms. We also rely heavily on social media and have communities of over 200,000. To make sure these remain engaged, we are constantly feeding this community with provocative activities, such as the State vs State Big Battle, which as you can see saw a simple activity generate nearly 44,000 votes, reaching 716,000 consumers and having 86,000 engagements. Not only talking about these great travel destinations, but connecting this travel with a caravanning message. Over Easter, knowing that many Australians were unable to travel, we instigated a Camp at Home Heroes campaign, which encourages Australians to have a holiday in their backyard. We know from research that one of the key drivers in keeping people in our industry is using their products. And so this was a way in which we could keep people connected with caravan and camping while they were physically unable to do so. This generated an incredible amount of online traffic, as well as mainstream media desperate for positive news stories over this period. But we don't stop there, and I'm pleased to say that in the next 6 months, we'll be heavily investing in making sure that Australians have caravan and camping on their travel consideration set. Indeed, in my time with the organisation, I've never seen the level of planned investment, one which is concentrated, is targeted, and is multifaceted across many platforms. In an effort to reinvigorate demand for bushfire-affected regions, we're very pleased that industry businesses and state associations came together to fund a media campaign called Keep on Camping. While there was considerable activity post-Christmas and through to Valentine's Day, COVID unfortunately paused this campaign, and we look forward to reinstating this and driving traffic around the country, and in particular to those bushfire-affected regions. But the rest of the country does not miss out. In the last week, we've initiated our first domestic marketing partnership with Tourism Australia for many years, under the banner of Travel Your Road. This is designed to inspire, provide consumers the opportunity to win, and to provide deals for Australians to get out on the road. While sensitive to geographical regions such as Victoria at present, this is a staggered campaign across the country in 2 waves before Christmas. The total media value is in excess of $5 million. Add to this our annual News Corp promotion, and you'll see always-on activity, effectively campaigns back to back to back to back. All trying to take advantage of Australians needing to travel and tying our core messages to encourage them to do so. To support this, we'll also be launching soon a promotion where one lucky caravan and camper will have the chance to win $1 million just by staying at Caravan Holiday Park or by visiting a trade business. Look out for details on this shortly. While marketing is incredibly important, we're also lucky as an industry to have the deepest research insights of any tourism industry sector. The amount of data that we report on anonymously allows our marketing decisions to be driven as well as providing useful background to media and government. This is also available for individual businesses to access and drive their own business decisions. You'll have the opportunity over the next couple of days to hear from both Peter Clay and Hugh Fitzpatrick as they share some of the latest data, and I would strongly encourage everyone to attend these sessions. Data is only as good, however, as the inputs you receive, and we're very thankful that over 300 caravan holiday parks anonymously provide data through their reservation management software systems in a partnership with BDO. Our thanks not only go out to the parks contributing, but also to RMS and Newbook for supporting this project. This means that as an industry, we are first to market regarding what is happening as late as last week, as opposed to most data which is several months behind. We're hoping with the upcoming RVSA that similar information will also be available for the manufacturing sector, meaning in theory we could be reporting on industry activity as early as the first of any given month. This data is vital when we make representations to government or we seek funding. There's no doubt that the government is under extreme financial pressure as they try to keep the economy afloat, but this also gives us great opportunity to make representations on behalf of industry, both individually and in conjunction with both our state associations as well as other national industry bodies. There's only so much money to go around, and while us and others have been frustrated at the distribution of funding around the country, it does not mean that we should not keep beating our drum. Indeed, we're seeing some great government partnerships already with our popular DFIB subsidy, grants in relation to digital champions and educating consumers on the signage around truck stops, as well as our most recent partnership with Tourism Australia. We're keen to continue conversations around making sure that JobKeeper is extended past September, the establishment of an RV purchase rebate, which would encourage more Australians to buy RVs and spend this money out in the regions, as well as projects with regard to capital expenditure subsidies, road safety and international ready programs, which while may seem far off, there's no point in being trained once the borders are already reopened. We're also keen to jointly lobby for the free passage across Bass Strait for caravan and campers to assist both the Tasmanian and Victorian caravan park industries. There has arguably never been a bigger year ahead for compliance in our industry, with 5 of the most significant pieces of regulation and legislation which impact our industry under review. The long-anticipated RVSA, the Road Vehicle Standards Act, continues to develop ahead of a 30 June 2021 deadline, and we're regularly meeting with VSS to ensure that our industry positions are represented. To hear the most current update, I would encourage you to sit in on James Field's session tomorrow at 11 AM for the very latest in developments. The ongoing tweaking of the Australian consumer law remains high on the radar, as does a review of VSB1 in line with RVSA, and as an industry we're heavily influencing the final composition of this document. We've also learnt that as an industry, if we come together as one, provide sound arguments based on testing and evidence, and we influence committees through direct representation or through regular contact with committee members, that our industry positions are well regarded, and we see this both with the gas and electrical standards which are currently under review. While the final standards are not due for release until later in the year, we have in conjunction with the state associations been heavily involved in driving the outcomes of what we believe are positive for the industry, relative to what would have happened if the regulators had been left to their own devices. And while this is going on, RV Map continues to gain consumer recognition and, more importantly, influence purchase decision making. A recent survey of 2,496 consumers saw recognition of the RV Map accreditation key at over 65%, with 60% of these suggesting that the key would make a consumer more likely to purchase a product. To do the numbers on this, assuming there are 35,000 new RV sales annually, including both locally manufactured product and imports, this means around 22,000 of these purchases had some recognition of the key. And working on the 60% above, this means over 13,000 annual sales are impacted in some way by the accreditation symbol. While the key in its own right will not be the only driver, it is part of the decision-making process, along with price, brand, type and product features. And if we use only 5% of those who said they would be more likely to purchase based on the accreditation key, and they substituted their purchase. You're looking at over 650 products annually, or $36 million worth of sales. That is why we're so keen to make sure that participation in the program comes with constant review and working with those RVMAP businesses regarding their federal compliance issues. So as you can see, we're incredibly busy, but we're committed to continuing to drive success for the industry. If we look at some of our key priorities for the year ahead, we see that we will continue to work closely with our State Association colleagues for industry benefit. We will make sure that we grow the market and take advantage of the opportunities that are available at present, while also ensuring that government understands and values the contribution our industry makes. We're committed to increasing our data collection and publication of insights for business planning, and we're going to continue to proactively engage with regulators to drive positive outcomes for the industry. We're looking to provide increased confidence to consumers through our accreditation programs, while also developing some really exciting road safety initiatives. All of this while we continue to learn from our international colleagues on market trends around the world, so that we can add value ultimately back to the industry businesses that support us and in the industry as a whole. I'm constantly reminded when I get out to the industry that we are the custodians of people's hopes and dreams. Caravan and camping is for many a huge emotional and financial investment, but it's also the calm in a metaphoric storm, providing reprieve and escapism from the busy modern lifestyle. And I think it's our responsibility to ensure that it's safe, enjoyable and memorable. Thank you for taking the time to hear about some of our activity being undertaken on your behalf. As our Chairman Grant Wilkins often reminds me, feedback is a gift, and as an organisation we could not do what we do without the strong support from our state associations and industry businesses. If you wish to personally reach out to me, please do so. I would love to hear from you. Thanks very much, and I hope you enjoy the next couple of days.